Okay, so again, sticking with the Foundation Year project, I'm thinking, for example, how we would use the nominal data, which is personality, so red, green, blue, personality differences, and for example, the 2D, 4D ratios. Now, just to be clear, I've made these 2D, 4D numbers up, okay? So that, don't think that it means anything because I've made it up. But how would we approach trying to get some diagrams that link these two factors together? So probably the best way of doing it, or one way, and there are many ways of doing these sorts of things, is to insert a pivot table. So we're going to insert a pivot table. So that's the data ranges. We want the existing data. We're going to put our pivot table there in that cell. So there we go. And it's created me a pivot table. That's where it's going to be. And it's given me two variables, personality 2D, 4D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my 2D, 4D rows and values down here. Okay. And I'm going to change that value field and I'm going to make it count. Okay, so it's going to become count, and that's the count of each of the variables. Now, that's not a great help to us, so we need to have something a little bit better. So group. So what's the lowest one is 0.2, and let's make the highest one 1.0. And the bin size is 0.1. Will that probably do? Yes, that might do. So there'll be, yeah. So let's see what happens. So there's my classes, 0.2 to 3. My count, there's so most of them are falling in 16 in that class. So we're doing quite well now. Now the problem is this is for the whole data set, and I want to make sure that it's by personality. I'm going to take personality. I'm going to drag it down into columns, and now it splits it up between blue, green, red, yellow, and so forth. So that's looking pretty cool. So I can now insert a pivot chart. Okay, now it's recommending this chart. That's the one it's recommending, columns. So let's just stick with that for a moment. And I'm not going to be using my pivot table, so I can cover it up. Let's drag that a little bit bigger. And I've got my different classes set out there. So that's not looking too bad. What else could I do? I don't need the pivot things, but I do need the chart things. So bring the chart things in. Let's format data, something like that. There we go. So let's bring down the gap width down. That's pretty good. Okay, and the series overlap, well, it's not too bad. I don't think I need to do much more than that. Now, what else can I do to just make this look a little bit better? Where is pivot shade there, pivot analyses, turn off these field buttons, hide them all, so that looks better. Now it's not a great graph, it's not a great graph at all, but it's showing a trend. So for example, certain personalities with certain values, and that's a very simple way of trying to portray these different